myself prefer the term getting crazy to going crazy, because if crazy is more of an object that we receive than a place we go, it's not something that controls us, but rather something that we can control. The phrase getting crazy has a pretty positive connotation, meaning let's get wildly inventive and creative. Let's play with new ideas, new patterns, new constructs of the same consensual reality that is generally agreed upon as sanity. And working with the musical modes is similar in that it allows us ways to get wildly creative with melodies and harmonic progressions in order to play new colors, new flavors, new feelings with all the same notes that we had agreed upon in the key. And modes are basically 7 ways of creating scales, organizing scales by making the tonal center out of each of the notes in a major scale while staying in the same key as that major scale. So for example, let's start out just with the example being C major, because it's all the white keys, and that'll just be simpler for thinking of it, and then we can talk about other keys later. So if we're in the key of C, you have the major scale of C available to you. C. I'll play it on my violin that I have here. So that is what is known as Ionian Mode. And here I have a list of these 7 modes. We have Ionian, Dorian, Phrygian, Lydian, Mixolydian, Aeolian, and Locrian. So what I just played for you was Ionian. But now, if instead of starting on that C and playing no sharps or flats up to C, what if we start on D and play no sharps or flats up to D? We have a whole new scale. So that's what's known as Dorian mode, starting on the 2nd degree. If we were to start on the 3rd note of that scale, the E, and still play no sharps and flats, same key, it would sound like this. So that's your Phrygian mode, number 3. If you were to start on the 4th, the F, natural in this case, in the key of C, you will have your Lydian mode. Mixolydian, number 5, starting on G, the 5th note of the C scale. And Aeolian, kind of like a spicy, garlicky, mayonnaise-y kind of mode that we're already familiar with, called Aeolian. And you might recognize that mode as the natural minor scale. That mode, that scale that is starting on the 6th note of a major scale is its relative minor. So if you know your major scales and their relative minor scales, then you already know 2 modes, Ionian and Aeolian, the 1 and the 6 modes. Okay, there's one more, Locrian, starting on the 7th degree, so that'll be a B natural in the key of C. So that one has a lot of tension, which is understandable because it's the 7, that's pretty crazy scale. So some of these modes are commonly used as the tonal center of a whole song. It might be common to play a whole song in a major key in C major, for example. Or it might be common to play a whole song in A minor, meaning the Aeolian, meaning the same key as C major. But the other ones aren't quite as commonly used as a whole song, except in certain other ethnic traditions. For example, Mixolydian, that one starting on the G, if you have no sharps or flats. So that's almost a major scale, because it's got everything a G major would want, except for that one sharp that G major has. It has, instead of an F sharp, it has an F natural, because we're in the key of C. And that adds just a slight little touch of mournfulness to an otherwise jolly tune. A little beauty, a little darker color, and that's a very common mode in some traditional English tunes, for example. And in some parts of the world, Phrygian, the scale starting on the 3. That is a common mode or something like it in some other parts of the world. But instead of just thinking as a mode being something you would go into for a whole song, think about some times when you would need a mode for just part of a song. The way I'd think of it is if you have a song that has a chord progression, say 1 4 1 5. 4 1 5. So you're not actually leaving the key, you're staying in the key of C there, but you're changing your tonal center for the time that it's on those scales. And so really, while even if you're improvising over that one, you're in Ionian mode. And then when you're improvising over that 4, you're in Lydian mode. And then you go back to Ionian. And then you're in Mixolydian for that 5. And so if you stay in that same key and have those kind of strange tensions to those different modes, that's what lets you know that you have left the 1, you've left the key, and it'll help you resolve back to that 1 and feel more comfortable. That's how you know you're on the 5, because of the shape of the scale that is formed when you form a scale or a mode around that tonal center. So I promised that I would talk about other keys. So we talked about the key of C. So here we have Ionian, C, D, E. Oh, I always do this, but I don't have perfect pitch, so I just actually start singing C, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. And then Dorian. Phrygian. Lydian. Mixolydian. Aeolian. Locrian. Back to Ionian. So, now I know. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D. So now, if we were in the key of D major, we have 2 sharps. We have F sharp and C sharp. So we go D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C sharp, D. And if we wanted to go to Dorian, the second mode, we'd go to the second note. E, F, F sharp, G, A, B, C sharp, D, E. I'm not very good at singing these, but you see what I mean by the pattern of the piano, that your Dorian starting on E in the key of D major just still has that F sharp and the G sharp. And so you're not going to an E major scale or anything like that, you're going to E Dorian scale. And if you were doing a Phrygian, you'd start on F sharp, G, A, B, C sharp, D, E natural, F sharp. I'll play that for you. Here's a Dorian, E Dorian scale, meaning it's in the key of D major, but starting on E. Here's an F sharp Phrygian scale. So I think you understand this, and now you know what modes are. You're already very familiar with the modal scale of Ionian mode and Aeolian mode. And now you know all these other modes. And you can either write whole songs in those to be weird and wildly inventive, or be kind of like an old British folk song, or you can just think of them as ways to improvise over a chord that is not the one chord of a song. So, thank you for listening. That was the crazy modes. And they all have Greek names, so that's why I said it's all Greek to me.